Hello, everybody. We are back with our annual social media predictions. We have been doing this every year, correct? Every year that we've had this channel.
Yes, I think the first one must have been 2018 going into 2019.
Look at that consistency,
was that
all
fourth or
right?
fifth? Something
So
like
that's
that?
either 4
18,
years?
19, 21, 22?
5
Potentially
years.
5.
It is our 5-year anniversary. So dramatic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
our 5th annual social media predictions, and in this video, this is where we take all the trends that we're identifying and all the information that we see, what we think is going to happen ahead,
Yes.
and brief you all on what's going to go down, so that way, as business owners and creators and marketers, you are set up for success in the new year, or you can kind of get ahead. So without further ado, let's jump right into what our first social media prediction for 2023. Look at that, 2023, y'all.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Okay, so our first prediction for 2023 is that businesses will see a decrease in reach, whilst creators will see an increase in reach. But the good news is we are essentially all creators at this point. We've said this a bunch on here, but even if you're a business, you absolutely should be a creator and be creating content thoughtfully and intentionally.
And I want to put in a clip right here from Adam Missouri himself, which I don't know if everyone caught, but we caught it because we pay a lot of attention. Roll the clip.
But we are very focused on how we can deliver both growing and more stable reach for creators specifically. And I'm hoping that, and I know this is contentious, recommendations will be a useful lever there. Because with recommendations, we can bias them more towards original creators over time and away from aggregators and other businesses. And we hope to start doing that over the next couple months.
So you're hearing it from the words of at least Instagram themselves, right? The algorithm is going to continue to evolve, and the algorithm is going to favor creators and give preference to creator content. And the reason that this is happening is because all of these platforms need people, and we're going to talk about this a bit further, so, keep watching. But all these platforms are only going to succeed if people are creating original content on them. So they need people to create, not repost, right?
Yes.
So with this in mind, they need to favor the content that's new content on their platform. So it's really important that you are thinking creator first. It doesn't matter if you're an influencer in terms of a traditional influencer, or if you're a business owner. We all need to be creating new, fresh content for the platforms. And you can do this. What you need to be thinking about, though, is, am I laddering up to the pillars? So the same thing that we always say, inspiring, educational, and entertaining content that I'm creating. And am I leveraging all the new features that Instagram is giving me to create?
Very important. One thing that just popped into my head now, this doesn't, I believe, specifically refer to a creator account versus a business account. That is a separate thing. Do you agree with that?
So what I would say is my pro tip out there, just to give yourself a little bit of an extra, because we don't know, right? We don't know. We're not saying anything definitively.
Yeah.
But if they're focusing on creators, my thought is not only being a creator in terms of creating original content will benefit you, but it'll probably benefit you to have a creator account on platforms like Instagram.
Right.
And I just say this from hey, that just means there's more creators account types on the platform, which is what we see every platform going towards. And then it also frees you up to more creative tools that are just not being launched on the business account side. High season account, that's a creator account. Most of our client accounts are actually creator accounts. And that was literally just because we wanted some of the features that you get on that side, which means things are being built for that demographic. And again, if we're all creators, then there's no reason why you can't have a creator account.
And to follow on from that, another prediction is that obviously whilst the creators will now really be the focus for a lot of platforms, and I know we were just talking about Instagram, but we're talking across the board, there's going to be a whole lot more opportunities for creators to actually turn their creations into a business beyond just that influencer side of things that Tiff mentioned before. So for example, you could be a creator for, whatever niche that you're in, and you could end up connecting with some of the brands that you're posting about, and they could actually hire you to do the work for them. Because if you think about it, the creator is the expert in social and actually knowing how to communicate with the audience and people with similar interests. Whereas often the brand inherently doesn't have those skill sets. They have to hire, but not all brands really have the budget for that, nor the consistent need, particularly as we move into this recession that they tell us we're going into. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for creators to now turn their creations into somewhat of a freelance business where they're going to be able to work with brands and actually do things for them. Particularly, a lot of brands struggle with the video side. It is a little complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
There was always a huge barrier around video that creators have broken that, and they can help brands getting into it. So maybe a brand doesn't need a full social media agency or a full social media manager internally, but they could hire creators to help them sort of, get their accounts going and really talk to the audience in a more authentic way via these people. And I have seen it in one of the industries that we work in. So I really see that as a huge thing coming up.
Yeah, I definitely think that just shows the importance of being a savvy influencer or creator if you're working this. So you need to understand business acumen a little bit more, make sure you're all tightened up in that area. And we're gonna, because we've hired no less than 250 to 300, maybe more influencers in our career, maybe even more than that. I can't say, it's like we've hired so many. We are going to really focus on making sure that you're all set up on the business side and understanding how to work, how to pitch, how to put your, we did do a piece on how to put your media kit together, or how to work with brands, and people were excited about that. And then we weren't posting that much because we got so busy with campaigns, but we are going to look into that next year as well, because there are a lot of ways for you to enhance and stand out above others in terms of a business, either be a small business or a larger brand working with you. And it seems like that small business angle to what you're saying is going to be super beneficial. Beneficial for the small business owners to hire creators, but also for creators to start pitching themselves to the smaller business who might just need batches of content. Like that's just an easy win technically for both sides. So I think it's going to help for us to put a lot more content out there for you on those topics too, and just to make sure you're tightened up on the business side of things. Our next social media prediction for 2023 is going to be the importance or the increase of customized content per platform. So when we say this, we mean not reposting to platforms anymore, right? We're not reposting, we're repurposing. They are two very different things. So the reposting is what I'm sure we all see in our feeds all the time, which is just like the same meme you've seen 17 times from the top accounts, which like I consume all the time. I consume all the top memes, but it actually doesn't keep me on the platform. If you think about it from the user side, I don't stay on the platform that long because I might see the same content and then it becomes redundant and boring and I sign off, or everything's just kind of the same. And then when you think about this from a platform perspective as platform owners, so if you are Instagram, if you are TikTok, if you are YouTube, it doesn't benefit you to have everybody seeing the same content. So from a business perspective, it just means they might tune out and log off of your platform or go somewhere else, which you don't want, or continue to stay in the preferred platform where that content originates. And then two, when you think about it from a user perspective in terms of like us using the platform, just regular people consuming the content, when you see the same content across all platforms, you might unfollow from 100%. That person on YouTube Shorts because it's the same thing on TikTok, it's the same thing on Instagram Reels. So it's going to be important, and I think the benefit that creators again will see is when you actually create content specific to each platform. So that YouTube video you can repurpose, but you should repurpose for each platform specifically. So that should look different on Instagram because that's probably where you're speaking to a different demo and are less organic than you would be on, say, on TikTok. So for us, when we're thinking about how we would show up on TikTok, that's going to be us going like this, having a conversation much more relaxed now on the phone versus what our Instagram reel would be, which is something that's a bit more, aesthetic, produced. And then YouTube, which of course is our long form. So we're going to be, and then we could be on Facebook and have that as a carousel video. And then again on Pinterest, that's a pin. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what repurposing is. And that means you become an original creator on each platform and you will be rewarded for that.
Yes.
I feel like that's pretty straight up. Think about how you can repurpose, which we'll also make a video on. That'll be good. Let us know below. Because literally we take one piece of content and make 15 from it, honestly. Minimum 10 is a very
That's
easy.
a great idea.
So I think we could do that for you also. We'll definitely put that in the list to film.
The next prediction for 2023 is that Instagram will continue to do what they have been over the last decade
since they snatched Snapchat and put it in stories. That was 2016 because we were in Australia.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they'll continue to take features from other platforms that are doing well and build them into Instagram or purchase other platforms. So we've seen that, and they've done it successfully for the most part in the past. I feel like there's been a bit of pushback from the crowd, from the general Instagram users.
Especially with the TikTok side because they push video too much.
Correct.
Yeah.
To the point where it ostracized photographers and other, image creators And I think they've scaled that back a little
They
bit
have.
now. So that obviously everything's being worked out in front of us. They're building the plane while they're flying it type of thing. So it's definitely going to be something they're continuing to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the other networks. So, you know,
Yeah,
one
like
of
the Be Real.
The Be Real was the one.
Yeah, they're folding Be Real in now. It's not everywhere, but it was like, we're going to do a new features announcement because so much is just coming out.
Yeah.
But they did start that one, like they're bringing in the Be Real, which will be interesting.
Exactly. And how was that going to impact Be Real? So, you know, we were watching a podcast last night that was being recorded live, and someone from the crowd was doing a Be Real with the podcast host. And I thought that was an interesting choice. They weren't trying to do a TikTok. They weren't trying to do a story.
Yeah.
They were doing a Be Real on the spot, which is a disappearing content with the front and back cameras.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing to see how that takes off.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do on Instagram. Are they going to... You know, is it going to really work on that platform, and is that going to affect Be Real? And are other platforms going to start to do it as well?
Yeah.
Going to be interesting because typically they haven't, but if you look at like stories are essentially everywhere now.
Yeah, they
where
are.
they weren't at first. So it's going to be interesting, but at the very least, we think that Instagram will continue to do that based on history. It's pretty clear.
And one day there'll just be a platform to rule them all, probably.
Yeah.
You're just going to do everything from there, like they have in China. WeChat?
WeChat.
Yeah, where it's just like everything's in there, and there's going to be like, use this, do your Uber, do all your things from this one
That's
app.
what
Because
Elon
like everything's
wants to
just copying each other, so you might as well at this point.
Yeah.
But actually, no, diversity, competition, key to the economy.
It is.
Yeah. Now, another new social media prediction that we have is the rise of the customer influencers. So when we say customer influencer, we technically are all influencers in a way, right? We all influence our network. So what this really looks like is the rise of UGC in a different way. So when we think about user-generated content, there are some people who create it, you know, and they're just kind of throwing it up there, and they technically are influencers for doing that, because if I see my best friend post something, I might be more interested.
Yes.
But there is that other tier up of user who's like really putting more effort into their user generated content, and I think we will continue to see this, and it's beneficial from a business perspective and from a creator perspective. So on the business side of things, you need to, especially in recession, especially when we're seeing that budgets are decreasing, you need to double down and really encourage people to post your products or talk about your services, because that is free promo. It's word of mouth, which has always been the most traditional way to get the message out there. Influencers just took it to a really scaled level.
Yes.
So on the business side, you could do this like via giveaways. That's probably going to be one of the best ways, and just encouraging people to post your content and getting something in return, or at least getting reposted to your account. And then on the influencer side, if you are an aspiring creator, this is a good opportunity for you to make those connections with brands. There are so many creators that we hired for our clients, and literally it was just because whenever they stayed at their hotel or used their product or did any of these things, we were like, oh wow, they're creating pretty dope content. Let's just hire them. And could you imagine like if we got to say like include all of these things and give me 20 of these instead? So that's a real opportunity if you are an aspiring creator. Put some of your money up. Start posting, start tagging these brands, and make those connections even in the DMs with them as well.
And if you're a brand, you're going to want to nurture those relationships with these individuals. And these are people that they don't always have aspirations to be a creator or an influencer or anything else. They just, particularly in niches, like beer is something that we deal with. So there's a big thing in beer where people just have accounts and that's what they post, and they buy, and they're not doing it for any other reason, you know, but they're just sharing a hobby and a passion.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of it, but I see it a lot there. So they'll start posting it, and then maybe a brand will reach out, or the brand will repost it. They'll be happy. Because beer is a low-cost item for the most part, they might be like, you know what, it's probably worth me sending out this $20 pack, which might be 4 to 6 beers, depending on the brand, to somebody, and then boom, additional, they're excited, and they're still not really a creator, but they're kind of in this new customer influencer sort of segment that it looks like is going to really take a rise, particularly given the economic conditions of what we're about to go into, and what they say we're going to go into, so keep an eye on that one.
The next social media prediction for 2023 is that YouTube will actually rise and see an increase in long form content. Now, I know they're going to be pushing shorts, and we definitely think that shorts will increase on the platform. But because shorts will be pushing to long form content, that's actually going to help everybody who is creating long form content on the platform. So that was a change that they made, where before it was kind of like you're watching a short and just went to another short, went to another short, went to another short. There's often times now where you're watching a short and that directs, which they've intentionally done, directs to a long form piece of content, which makes YouTube the best place still to this day to make money.
Yes.
Because YouTube videos continue to go. It's not a one piece of content where it's like, okay, I put it out, maybe the brand pays me, or I'm just putting it out in general and I get like some of the coins that, you know, TikTok and Instagram give out when you create. YouTube pays real long-term sustainable money in perpetuity, okay? Like, we are making money still every single month from videos we made in 2019, 2018. Like, it's pretty incredible, honestly. Definitely, if you have been thinking about starting a YouTube channel in 2023, please don't hesitate and do it. It is still the best way as a creator to make a substantial income.
Yes, and we're going to keep talking about this.
We are, for sure. We love YouTube, obviously. We love YouTube. We're on here. Hey.
Yeah.
But also, like, the financial opportunities for creators and business owners is huge on here. And what I love about YouTube is that it's more valuable because it's longer form. So it pays better.
The pendulum's
exactly.
The short form is still going to be king. That's another prediction that we're going to mention, that is still going to be king in 2023. But then the only place you can really get long form content, like if everything you see is 10 to 60 seconds long, like you're going to start to want something else.
Sometimes you want long things.
You don't want something with meat on it.
It's cute to see a recipe in 7 seconds, but sometimes you need somebody to explain to you why you're actually doing the things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You need that in-depth conversation, and that's what YouTube gives.
It's like the only place left.
It's a new TV. It's straight up. It's so beautiful. So anyways, that is our prediction. Like, that YouTube is still, if short form is king, YouTube is the monarchy in this, okay? Like, let's not forget that. Let's not twist that.
Yes.
So because we actually also want to keep this video short, we're going to do a flash round of our other predictions that don't require as much explanation.
Yes.
So how about you hit them with it, and I'm going to scroll through too.
Okay, perfect. So brands will start showing up on newer platforms now. I think with a frustration with algorithms, with a lot of the other platforms like Be Real, Hive, things like that, brands are going to actually show up and put some energy, effort, and marketing budget into it. So it is worth, as a creator or a brand, to have a presence on those ones.
The metaverse will be pushed and spoken about, but we will not see adoption, really widespread adoption from businesses and creators until much later. Do not see that coming in 2023. No. People have so much going on so far, and they also have a lot of entry. There's still a significant barrier to entry on that side.
A lot more work needs to be done.
Exactly.
More Ecamm aspects are going to be introduced on social versus social itself. So they're going to be putting in more ways for people to buy, really. The only, I guess, barrier to that one is the trust factor. How much do people trust Instagram by putting their credit card in Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or wherever it might be?
The other thing is more authenticity, less fluff, so that'll continue. What made TikTok thrive back then is going to continue to permeate all the platforms. So less polished, more real content.
Twitter is going to be very interesting to watch in 2023. I know, right?
Elon.
We think that with Elon at the helm of Twitter, which obviously at the point of recording, he just ran the poll to say should he step down, and the vote said yes. I don't know if he will step down, but at this point he has not. I think it will be continually unstable whilst he is at the helm of it. It feels like he's brought in some good things and some bad things. He said that it's going to be weird and they're going to be testing things for a while. I foresee that happening essentially whilst he's in charge. It seems like he'll introduce something like they introduced where you weren't allowed to have Linktree and all these different things, and then within 24 hours it already pulled it. And they put that out in the World Cup final so that, it went trying to go under the radar, and then people obviously found it, were furious, they worked it back. So it's going to be continually unstable into 2023 whilst I don't know if he's going to be able to bring any stability to Twitter, but it'll still remain an important network, but I don't know if he's going to ruin it at this point.
We'll see.
Remains to be seen.
The other is the rise of social media investments, but also scrutiny around that. And this is because, again, as recession looms, it's going to be more and more important, also just because social is just so huge, to really quantify the impact that social efforts are making. So that's why it's going to be really, really important in anything that you're doing to be tracking and be super intentional about everything that you're doing, especially if you're a social media manager watching this. You're going to have to make sure that you are tracking what you're doing and proving the worth of what you're doing. That's also why we created a social media tracker and reporting, because we are so huge on reporting to our clients of our success and what we're doing, so that way we can prove value. You can check it out in the link in our description.
Grab it. Social search is going to become almost as important as Google searches or search engines. Social search, I mean, being that YouTube is the second largest search engine, people are on Instagram and they're just going to search for things on Instagram. So we think that social platforms are going to refine that search to be much more accurate and broader, to be able to be used more like a search engine. So wherever you are, if you're on Twitter, like if something happens in the world, we go to Twitter and I'll just search Twitter to find out what's going on. That's the way it goes. But I wouldn't go to Instagram for that right now because I don't know if it's going to pull what I want. But they're going to work on that. They're going to focus on that because that's, you know, they don't want people to leave the platform to go somewhere else to find the information. So social search.
And 100% TikTok is already seeing that the younger demographic, so Gen Z, actually search for terms in TikTok over other platforms.
There you go.
Even Google.
Beautiful.
That's key. The next one is the decline of the audio platforms. Remember 2 years ago where we were like, Clubhouse is going to be the one. She ain't the one. She ain't the one. Twitter Circles, it's kind of there. Facebook had something, I can't remember. Oh, I said Twitter Circles. Twitter Spaces.
Circles
sounds familiar.
Squarespace?
Yeah, they might not even
they're
be
all
that
similar
one.
words,
but they all have similar words. And in the end, it's just like video is taking over, right? So it's like the complete opposite. It went from so low effort where you could have been like sitting in the corner on the floor in your house on the Clubhouse to like, now you got to produce video content now. Yeah. And that goes into the last one. Yes,
which was the short form video remains king. We did mention that earlier, but
YouTube monarchy.
YouTube monarchy.
Is that ahead, right?
Well, isn't it?
Because it's like the establishment.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like when Harry and Meghan were talking about the
monarchy, like the family
business behind it or whatever.
Yeah, they had a term for the firm.
The firm.
Yeah, the firm.
Love it. So the short term will remain king still, obviously. So make sure you are focusing on short term video in 2023. It only is really starting to pick up. I think Reels only came out. Was it this year? It's a blur.
No. Was it last year? Like 2020.
Really?
I would say, right?
Okay, well, I'm completely off with that. I'm horrible with dates. Point is, it's still really, like, the momentum is only really kicking up at this point. Mm-hmm. So it's something that you're going to be needing to focus on. It still will remain king. So whilst we are very bullish about YouTube and long-form content, also for the financial opportunities within that, which we think is superior to anything else, short-term will remain king. Focus on it. If you're not doing that in 2023...
you're really missing out.
It's not going to be too good for you on social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that is our social media predictions for 2023, our 5th annual edition. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let us know what your predictions are in the description box, in the comments. That's where you put stuff.
And if you disagree, I want to hear too.
Or if you have more,
or if you want to add to a point, because I feel like a lot of you guys who are watching have really thoughtful opinions on stuff. So
100%.
We enjoy those conversations.
100%. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other videos from us. You can follow us everywhere at High Season Co. I was like, where's the platform? At High Season Co. Happy New Year if this is the last video that you're watching from us on our channel, even though we have one more coming for you. Yep. But Happy New Year if it's the last video that you watch before the new year kicks off. We wish you the best 2023 and beyond of all time. We'll see you in the next video or in the new year. Bye. Peace.